Welcome to our special screen gap presentation of Cross. I'm Greg Braxton with the LA Times. Thanks for Thank you. Thanks for staying in. We got a great program for you with the cast and creator of Cross, your favorite show, which is coming back on February 11th on Prime Video. We want to introduce the forces behind this amazing show, starting with the creator and executive producer, Ben Watkins. Star and executive producer, Aldis Hodge. Isaiah Mustafa. Alona Tal. And the rookies for the season, Matthew Lillard. Not least Jeanine Mason.
Hi everyone.
Hi.
Hello. You?
How's everybody doing?
Great. Fantastic. How y'all doing?
So then I wanted to start the first season of Cross. There was a lot of racial politics involved. There was a lot of, topical issues dealing with sort of how the country was doing at that time. Can you talk about that and making the transition to this season and how you're going to reset the show and just go into another season of Cross?
Yeah, sure. I'll get started off. I mean, the first season, obviously, you have a show that centers a black man as a detective. You have some built-in contradictions, and there are some dynamics that exist between the black community and law enforcement that haven't gone anywhere. So I don't think you can do a show about a cop, about a detective, without having that baked in. And our entire writing staff, was in agreement with that. And I think if we had tried to do anything that tried to sanitize it, I think my writing team would have revolted. So we always think about it, but we also think about it in terms of if there are going to be some real world topics, they need to be baked in organically. And so we felt like we did a good job of that in season one, so it doesn't feel like we're tiptoeing around the realities of what, our existence is, but we also are not just, throwing the soapbox up and preaching. And season two, we had a chance to address some more social topics, but again, organically baked into the story. And so I think that will always be a hallmark of the show. And I think part of that is feeling the responsibility to accurately reflect what our experiences are.
So is there a central theme with the second season, or?
Yeah, okay, so we, for us, all the seasons across are original stories. So we're borrowing the world, we're borrowing the characters, and we're using that as inspiration, but the stories are always original. They're manufactured in the writer's room. And then, so we call them our own books, right, in the Cross series. And season one was Hero Complex. And season two is Bitter Fruit. And it's because there's a huge thematic storyline there that is about vengeance. It is about vigilantism. And it raises questions about the difference between the law and justice. And if you take justice into your own hands, if you take it too far, what happens? And we really try to design a season that forces the audience to have to ask that question and answer it for themselves. We try to make them invest in something, and then when it goes too far, or at least have to answer the question of how far is too far.
Aldis, I was so impressed by your evolution during that first season where you're the most brilliant man in the room, but you're also very broken. Can you talk about just sort of that evolution in the first season and where Cross is going to go this season as far as dealing with those demons?
Where he's gonna go, you trying to give me the secrets. The thing that I love about where we meet Cross in the first season is because he is taxed with so much responsibility, so much weight from his job, from the community, from his family, and from himself. And he still has to show up. An associate of mine told me a long time ago, it's hard for us to show up expected to be excellent when we're just trying to be okay. And I feel like that perfectly sums up what he was going through. And I think it's sort of a reflection of what a lot of us go through on a daily basis. Getting up, trying to figure out what is the thing, what is that little kernel of hope I need to hold on to get me out of this bed and go do what I gotta do. As we've seen over the years, repeatedly, our hope is constantly challenged, is constantly beaten down, is constantly oppressed. But the point of the oppression is to make us fatigue, to tire us out, so we can stop believing in ourselves, so we can stop believing in our capabilities. It takes a few of us to push forward through that, to know that in spite of it all, we still are capable. And I think with Cross, he was fighting that, the fatigue of trying to believe in a system that he knew internally held some corruptions that he had to face, that he had to walk through, deal with every single day. How is he judging himself when he wants to stand in the spirit of justice when he's looking at his community that says, that's opposing us, but you're supposed to be with us, one of us. So I love the dynamic that we got to have with the conversation of his journey throughout, but we also saw where you can't just be your own anchor, you need people to hold you up and hold you down. That's where we get John Sampson, that's where we get his family, but the brotherhood that they had, going through mental health and dealing with the importance of it, and dealing with the importance of having people around you that can support that. What we got from the audience, particularly men, black men, who said, yo, we deal with this every day, this is our community, we're so happy this is reflected because now we get to see a facet of who we really are and not just the adverse side, not the very, very, very small monochrome of the stereotype. We get to see our true nature reflected. I love the fact that we can be a part of something that feels not just entertaining, but constructively effective and evocative when it comes to how we push not necessarily culture, but particularly our society as they reflect and see us, push that forward. You know, teach people how to interact with us, engage with us in an elevated way.
I was so impressed by your character and how you were a great part of Cross's healing during that first season, but now you've got your own personal problems to deal with in this season. Can you talk about what you're going to be going through?
Yeah, he definitely gets a little personal. First, I just want to thank Ben and the other writers that are here tonight for just crafting the storyline that actually allowed me to dig a little bit deeper as an actor, and also just to get into Samson's life and his personal struggle of who he is and how he became who he is and what he goes through and why he deals with Cross the way he deals with Cross and why he sees him as a brother and and how close he is to the family. It's one of those things where you just scratch the surface in season 1 to get to know who he is, and then as you get into season 2, you dig a little deeper and you see that this man, he's not only his best friend's backbone and he holds him up, but he's dealing with these things that he might need somebody to be that backbone for him. So without giving away too much. I think that kind of sums it up.
So what about
I
what
mean, you
you're
did
doing?
just see the episode.
Well, I was going to tell about a little bit more. You know, there's some other stuff that goes on too. But,
Some stuff.
Yeah. But you know, you saw the beginning of it, so you know.
Well, what about what you're gonna be going through?
I just he said, but tell us more. Yeah, you'll see what he's going through. He's definitely it's not like, I feel like last season Samson was this, you know, he was there for Cross and he was holding him up, and you got to see this like fun, you know, energetic, you know, partner. But this season you get to see, you know, a little more emotion, and you get to see where that character was made, you know. Did I get it? Did I get it right?
Alona, I think a lot of people really fell in love with your character. It's very intriguing. Got a little crush on her, but.
Go on.
I'm still trying to kind of figure her out, because there's good but there's some shady stuff that may or may not be going on. Can you talk about that?
She is woman. You know? Layers are a thing. Multifaceted is a thing. We are many. There's a Shania Twain song, right? Or something? Right? Or no, it's a confusing song. Never mind. She is a lot of things, but the one thing that she is she survives, and she gets through it no matter what. And you have to have a little humor. I'm glad that you liked, you know, that you see these sides to her throughout all these like ups and downs that she has to deal with as a woman in this world.
And what's it like her working with Cross?
Yes.
As you can tell, she has a love-hate. Because she loves them. Like they have a good rapport and they work well together. But he does so well. It's annoying. It's like she loves it, but she hates it.
Jealousy.
She's just, you know, she wants it to be it's about me, you know. That's a little bit of where she's coming from, but at the same time, she can't deny his life and his awesomeness. Very similar to Aldis.
I was waiting for.
He shines so bright whenever he enters the room.
Everybody on this panel is typecast.
Hold on a second. Hold on, man. That's not cool.
Which brings us to you, Matthew.
Nice segue.
So can you, we're still trying to figure out what's going on with you. Can you talk about coming into the world of Cross and what your character represents?
Sure, I'm a billionaire. That's all you need to know. I only play the best characters. I will say this, the thing I want to say coming into the show is that I didn't know the show when I got cast. What was it? Oh. It wasn't out.
That's right.
Yeah, you see me now, I've done my work.
Sorry, you're forgiven.
But the thing I want to say is that what you see on screen and what people are responding to, 40 million people watched this show in the first month.
20 days. The first
20 days. Right? That's crazy. That's crazy. And what's being built is resonating, and the storytelling is real and resonating. And Ben and Aldis, the way they create culture on set, how they bring people together, how they create a family as producers, and then all the way down to Isaiah, to Alona. There's a family here that is welcoming, that brings you in, that empowers you to do your best work. A lot of times when you show up to a set, It feels like you're visiting somebody else's Thanksgiving. And it's a miserable feeling because you're like, I don't know their traditions, I don't know who these people are, and you feel like an outsider, and that's not the case on the show. And I think it's in this day and age when phones are so prevalent and people are so separated, you walk on this set and it's an experience like I've never had in 35 years in this business. And so for me, it's a privilege to be on the stage, it's a privilege to work with these actors and these artists. And that's not even bullshitting. That's straight up true.
Like I said, man, I'm humbled, man. When this brother comes in, he does some monster work. I think you're gonna see him in a way you've never seen him in his career, and I'm so happy that he gave us his time because he shut it down.
I would say Matthew is one of the realest dudes in the industry that I've ever met. Like usually people, like, you know, if someone calls you in the industry, other than Aldis, because, you know, sometimes you need a shoulder to cry on, but if somebody calls you, usually it's because they want something from you or they have something for you. The other day I was in my house doing whatever. Matthew gave me a call and I said, hey, you know, and I was expecting this like shoe to drop, like people want something. He was like, no, I just called to talk. You know? I was just like,
it turns out I like you, man. I don't understand.
It was, I got off the phone and I told my wife, I was like, Matthew just called me, we just talked. And she's like,
what you don't understand is the man just wrote a novel. Like Isaiah Mustafa just wrote a novel, and I'm so excited to see where his story goes as an artist and as a man.
I appreciate you, man. Thank you.
But
it was so sweet that I was just like, oh man, that was like so real. Like it's rare that you get real people in this industry. So I'm very, you know, happy to know you as a person and that I've worked with you now.
You guys, this is the best Q&A. What do you want to say about me?
You're the other new member. First of all, I want to ask, is that tattoo real? Or
Oh, yeah.
If this show does, I think maybe we do this bet now. If it does, well, was it 20 million?
40 million in 20
I'll make
days.
a fucking tattoo.
You really would have fun.
Done, Ben, done.
So what can you tell us about your character? Because you make quite an entrance in this season.
Oh man, I guess I'll tell you, you know, I'm also very new to this camp and new to Ben and Blue Mondays and everybody. And I love this thing Ben does when he works with someone new. He has a meeting with them and he asks a series of questions. But the one that I want to focus on now is he asks for your like secret talents or your hidden talents. And he attempts to use them in the season. And we got some in there. I can't tell you which ones, of course. But I think what was really cool was I truly felt like I was sort of brought to the studs on this. Like we just fully used everything I got in the camp. Like every skill. I mean, the amount of like coachings I had. I worked with like this Filipino knife expert that they found me, and I was like driving the, you know, in the van on the way to work in the backseat, like just playing with the knife and like working on dexterity. It was just so fun. Fully used every little bit that I have. Truly down to the studs on contributing to her, and it's just like you're teed up for such a good time when you get to do all of that, all that was asked. It was wonderful. Yeah.
So
There's 2 more cast members here that are absolutely unbelievable and need recognition. There we go.
Yes.
Samantha Watkins.
There she is.
Johnny Rayfield.
Come on now.
Yeah, you gotta stand up. You right there, you gotta stand up.
Sam, you!
Sam! Samantha!
Samantha, you! We are talking about you!
taking back rows like, I don't know who you're talking about.
Over there, we have Johnny Reagan, who you haven't even done. What he's bringing. The deliciousness that this man brings.
Can I say real quick? I was at the first reading, at the table reading, and that's one of the great things that happens here is we do a table reading every episode. And that man sat in a chair and did things, and I found him after the reading. I'm like, you don't know me, but what you just did at a table reading was fucking incredible. Dude, you're an amazing gift for this. I should not swear.
Good interruption.
I wanted to ask, when you have a response that is this massive, does that make you relax, Ben, or does it put more pressure on you? Why do you sleep at night?
I feel like these people in the row are like, relax. First of all, we had to go into season 2 without knowing how season 1 was going to do. So we had to put that in the can. We were all very proud of the work, but we had, for better or for worse, no idea how the fans were going to react. And I say for better because that meant we got to focus on just the story we wanted to tell. But for worse because we didn't know that how fans were going to flip over. I mean, some very fun things like the relationship between Cross and Nell, or the friendship between Samson and Cross, or the wild card aspect of a Kayla or a Bobby Trey. So we just had to tell that story, and so we weren't able to really feel that pressure. I feel that pressure now, though. You know what I mean? But we never relax. I never relax. We always keep striving for something better, and our writers get behind that. So they don't mind if I throw a curveball at the 11th hour. Well, they do mind, but they still are like, okay, we got a curveball, and I'm thinking one thing, and they don't just take that and do it. They take it and make it better, or else they tell me that's absolutely insane. We're not doing that. And then the crew will do that, and the cast will do that. We all build on that. So even when we're ratcheting up the pressure, we try to build an environment that is conducive to people doing their best work, so it doesn't really feel like pressure. It feels like shooting for the stars. And while we're shooting to shout people out, I do want to shout out all our writers here who are, there's so many, but just two of them.
Can you guys stand up? Stand up. Come on now.
Quick one.
Most of the folks here are not only season 2 writers, but season 1 writers. One of the folks here, co-writer of the pilot, came in, they joined us in season 2, and we're kicking ass so much they wrote the first episode of season 2 with me, that's Marissa Lee over there. And we have season 2 and co-showrunners, some guys I've been working with since 2015. Anything I do, they're a part of. One's under weather today, but Jim Dunn, but his partner in crime, Sam Ernst, is over here. Co-showrunners season 2 across. These are the folks that really are the bedrock of the show, you know, because they built that foundation long before we ever turned the camera on, even before we cast. They do things in the room, in the writer's room, and on the page that inspire so many people. You start going, who would play that? And when they write a character, it becomes so real before you even seen something. So then when the right person walks in, when Matt Lillard walks in, it's like, you're like, this is Lance Brand, this is what they were talking about in the room. And when Jeanine Mason walks in, and you're like, this is Rebecca. It's such a gift to have a team that can do that for you.
Could I piggyback on that for a second?
Just one of the for me, one of the coolest aspects of working on the show is that when I have these conversations with Shakes or with Sam, like they're just like, you know what I mean, you get to dig into your character because you can talk to these dudes on set and you have these like long conversations. You may not always agree with things, but you know you have somebody that has your back and that's gonna give you like the roadmap and say, hey, this is how it's written. Like this is how you're supposed to go down the road. So if you get worried, you know, you got these like, you know, benchmarks to go by. And that is some of the, like, I can't explain to you being a creative person, that is like an amazing safety net to have when you can talk to somebody about how you're supposed to be in this role. So, thank you.
I'm about to put him on blast because he ain't stand up.
Oh, yeah, put him on blast, put him on blast.
His name is Blaze.
Oh.
He's one of our other writers / producers. I mean, you ain't gonna let the people see.
Silent assassin coming in. He's like,
Well, congratulations to all of you, and I know we're all looking forward to the second season, which will start dropping weekly, starting February 11th. And we look forward, and thank you so much, and thank you guys.